Hi, this is Elliot Eisenberg of Graphs and Laughs with the latest multiple listing service data for Hillsborough County. And what we see here is a real dichotomy between the single-family market and the multifamily townhome and condo market. In both markets, prices are going up, inventories are going up, pending sales are going up, closed sales are going up. So all the rubrics are pretty good here. All the metrics are pretty good. Don't get me wrong, they're fine. But there's clearly a difference. And the difference is that on the multifam side, inventories have been growing by very large amounts. Over the last 9, 10, 12 months, inventories have been growing by 30, 40% year over year. By contrast, on the single fam side, they're growing at 10, 15%. In both cases, I expect inventories growth to decline going forward, so we've probably seen the biggest increase in inventories. That having been said, again, the inventory growth in the multifamily side has been much larger. As a result, what we saw last month, for example, is interesting. We saw sales activity in multifam stronger than single fam. We saw pending sales activity in the multifam side stronger than single fam side. And we saw price appreciation much less in the multifam side than the single fam side. These are not surprising outcomes. With higher inventories, it's easier to buy a house. With higher inventories, the bidding wars to get a condominium or a townhome are less severe on the multifam side than the single fam side. And if you look at it in terms of months of inventory, well, they're both 2.7 for single and multi. A year ago, they were 2.4 for single fam. So there's been a rise, but not large. And on the multifam side, it was only 1.8. It's been a 50% increase. So there's been a substantial change in the availability of structures and units to buy on the multifam side. And we're starting to see the impacts a little bit, at least certainly in the most recent data. Nationally speaking, things are okay, but they're slowing, and that's the important thing. GDP growth last year was a little above 3%. And last quarter, Q1, they were also above 3%, but it was for one-off and unsustainable reasons. This quarter, Q2, which is now just about over, growth is going to be about 2%, maybe 2.1, meaningfully slower. And it'll be meaningfully slower the rest of the year at also around 2 or 2.5%. But don't confuse slowing growth with a recession. There's no likelihood of a recession on the horizon. You look through the end of this year and early through the first quarter of next year, the recession likelihoods are very low. Job growth is decent, wage growth is good, unemployment is low, and so on and so forth. And adding to this good situation is a central bank that has told us they're willing to lower rates and may well lower rates as early as the end of July, which is going to put a nice foundation below the economy, increase corporate investment a little bit, and certainly stave off the recession, hopefully keep it from coming for quite some time. But the fact remains, the globe is slowing, inflation is weak, other central banks are lowering interest rates as well around the globe, but we see this clear slowing. Doesn't mean a recession's happening. That's the most important thing. So the economy's fine, it's slowing. We're unlikely to have a recession for the next 9 or 10 months. It may well be we don't have one after that either, don't get me wrong, but I certainly don't see one in the short run. And the central bank is being accommodating, and the housing market's doing okay. The key thing in Hillsborough County is to distinguish between the multifamily market, where inventories have grown a lot, and single family, where they've grown much less. In both cases, inventories are likely to grow much more slowly going forward. That's it for now. See you next month.